Hello and welcome to the course Software Asset Management, a comprehensive guide. In this course, we will learn many interesting topics about SAM and how we can implement it in the organization to achieve profit and reduce cost through minimizing the spending on software licenses, and also how to mitigate the risk of audit. So all IT professionals are welcome to join and learn with us. This course is intended to people who are interested in learning how to be able to manage and control their software licenses proactively, thus to overcome overspending on the software licenses, to reduce cost, mitigate risk of vendor audits, and thus see a tangible return on investment of their software licenses and increase the profits of their organization. Especially that software licenses are considered today as IT assets, as the title of this course suggests, and also as according to the reports of Gartner, Ernst & Young, and many others that led the standardization bodies like the ISO, the International Standards Organization, to develop ISO 19770, which is mainly revolving around software asset management. And we will go through this ISO standard briefly, as it cannot be separated from any proactive SAM that's to be implemented in any organization. These are the contents of our course, and we will go through them one by one. In section 1, we will have an overview. In section 1, we will have an overview, and this overview will include an introduction, a definition of SAM, an explanation of what does it mean to have compliance, what are vendor audits, and what motivate vendors to target a certain organization, and how to make your organization less attractive for audits, how to extract true value for the purchased software. We will discuss software as a service or cloud-based computing, and how the cloud-based licenses or the software as a service licensing model can be a big source of spending leak in your organization. We will explain the difference between the word licensing and entitlements. We will demonstrate the different software license types available in the market. We will show the SAM metrics, which upon measuring them, you will be able to decide if the SAM program in your organization is proactive or is it poor. In section 2, we will discuss software license optimization, or an SLO. SLO is an emerging professional service in the field of license management and software asset management. We'll explain how it started and how SLO projects works, what are the phases of SLO projects and the expected outcome of each project. In section 3, we will explain an overview about ISO 19770, which is mainly revolving around SAM. It's a SAM ISO. In section 4, we will explain the current approaches in people, processes, and technology in the IT market. And in this section, we will have a glance at the SAM processes according to the ISO. We will demonstrate the DINROS model, which is developed by Gartner for the license management and software asset management. We will take you steps by step in different steps in a regular way how to implement SAM and SAM tools in your organization. We will explain some SAM facts about the impact of SAM that can have on your organization and in the global IT market. In section 5, we will demonstrate the risks of poor software asset management and how it can be costly to your organization. In section 6, we will have a conclusion of all that we have discussed in our course. A software publisher rarely sells the software itself. The publisher sells rights or entitlement to use the sale of licenses. We will discuss the software licenses types in a coming lecture and how different types of licenses serve different models of usage. And we will also discuss how to choose a specific license model. Actually, if there is no expertise in-house who know the ins and outs of the license schemes of a certain vendor, you have to use an external consultant to the organization for this purpose. The risk to both the customer and the publisher is that software deployment and usage are very difficult to measure. Even the term usage is very difficult to define and must be described very specifically as part of the right to use or license. Unless certain tools are used in order to measure the license utilization, you will never have an accurate view of the utilization of each license for each vendor. Such confusion can give rise to two dominant questions for the IT manager. The first question is, am I using more or less than I am entitled to? That's to say, do I need all what I have purchased or less or maybe more? If less, then there is a risk of overspending on licenses. If more, then there is a risk of audit. The second question is, am I optimizing usage across all my titles such that I am getting business value for my expenditure? That's to say, is there a sound return on investment from the software which I purchased, or the return on investment is not clear? Or maybe I have no idea because there is no accurate monitoring and control of the software licenses in my environment. And this is what this course is about. And unless the software licenses are treated as an asset, there will always be a leak of costs due to the unmonitored value of the software assets. Actually, the single rule that governs whether a customer is in compliance with respect to their software asset is that for every deployment, there must be an entitlement that allows the deployment. And this means that a thorough understanding of what the current entitlements are and their terms is needed in order to achieve software license governance. A simple view of this situation is shown in Figure 1. On one hand, on the left is the entitlement for use as defined in the licensed software right to use agreement. On the other hand, on the right is the representation of how the software is actually used. That's to say, the deployment and usage of features provided as defined in the agreement. This balance is described as reconciliation, and ideally should always be in complete balance. When a measurement is made, if the reconciliation matches, there is a zero reconciliation gap. Then the two hands clap. I like to picture this as applause, which of course becomes louder as a greater number of agreements are sold and a greater amounts of software are used. Reconciliation gaps are a problem for both the end user and the publisher and provide a barrier to a sound relationship between the two sides. Having a proactive SAM will reconcile any gaps and make sure that no gaps appear in the future. And if any gaps appear, they will be eliminated quickly for the sake of the organization. Even if there is a zero compliance gap, this doesn't necessarily mean the user is driving value from software expenditure. This is where the concept of use becomes hazy. Just because a software title is installed, it doesn't necessarily mean it's being used. Further, if a single title is installed in two places, but only used by one user at a time, the user may have purchased twice the true entitlement. Because the publisher license only by seat, not by concurrent users. I could write several chapters here on license models, but this course is not designed to address that topic. However, what I do want to discuss here is the ability to measure these different models using standards-based technology. Both the vendor, publisher, and the consumer should be able to engage in software commerce with a clear understanding of the expectations and deliverables on both sides. And both should be able to optimize their business for profits in their respective fields without confusion.